Hello and welcome to another episode of Statford Bridge, Chelsea by the numbers. Uh, Transfer season is back. Chelsea decided we won the Club World Cup. We'll give you a week. And then we're going balls to the wall, selling players, buying players you'd never thought about in roles you probably don't need, and we're going ham. And they said, Kieran, no break for you. We're coming back. We're talking about Xavi Simons. First off, I don't care what pronunciation guide there is. There's one M in his surname. It's Simons. It's not Simons. There's one M, so it's Simons. I will call him Simons. So let's get into it. First off, he's 22. Young, good age profile. This has been a pretty consistent Clear Lake thing. They don't buy old. For their many flaws in their transfer recruitment process, they don't buy old, and that's a good place to be. Um, if you look at his headline metrics for 24-25, you would be right to be somewhat unimpressed. Mid is strong. Moderate XG, okay XG per shot, okay shot volume, okay XA, like good XA, good shot volume created, but only okay XA, so like they're not amazing chances. Tremendous amount of turnovers, not amazing dribbling numbers. It's okay. There's a couple factors in that. One, his 23-24 was super legit. Two, Leipzig were the worst they've been probably since they got promoted to the Bundesliga. And that was very much a factor in this. Like Sesko is not good. Like teams very rightly have stayed away from Sesko this summer, and like their whole attack was Simons, Openda, and Sesko, and Openda also had a down year. So you end up in this weird place where like the guy who does all the creation looks worse because a lot of the players around him were worse. But like definitely trended negative in 24-25. He moved to PSG, or he moved to Leipzig officially in the January window for 50 million euros. He was there on loan for the previous season. After PSG bought him from PSV Eindhoven got him from PSG got him from Barcelona. He has a very odd youth career. He has been maybe not reported, but like people have intimated that he is perhaps a somewhat difficult character with a difficult entourage to manage. And it would appear he is done with the Leipzig experiment and he would like to go to a big team and play for a big team. I think some people were surprised that after last year, PSG did not look to integrate him. Obviously, they won the Champions League, so like you don't have to say you're sorry about anything. But that's kind of the context around him as a player. When you compare his 23 to his 23-24 season to his 24-25 season, on the right you have 23-24, on the left you have 24-25. What do we see? Well, one, all of the creative numbers got way worse, right? So that's what we talk about. The assists are down, the XA is down, the open play shots created are down, the dribbles are down, the carries into the box are down, the self-shot creation is down, the shot volume is down. Like all of those things down, bad. The goals are up because he finished really hot this year. But all the creation stuff in 23-24 was very, very real. So that kind of frames it of like, okay, this player had a down year. And we talked about this with some of the other transfer targets that Chelsea had in mind, where like João Pedro probably had a down year and Chelsea paid full freight on the fee. And we've talked about this, that like they seem to not care. When you look at him by Davies, so like comparing to his age cohort and league, he's second highest for U22. He's the third highest for players his age and younger. I believe the player ahead of him is Musiala. But again, it's a down year. He's pretty available. Like his injury record is quite good. He plays a lot, and when he does play, he almost always plays the whole game. On a per 90 basis, he's something like average. He just gets on the field a lot. But when you compare to when you compare to his last season, so this season is green, the last season is red, his season at PSV is blue. Like his seasons last season and at PSV were legitimately very special analytically, like huge, huge, huge output as a shooter, as a final ball passer, um, as a zone mover on the dribble, where he's much closer to average last season. Like there's a lot there in the previous seasons. Davies classifies him as a central creator. His minutes are split reasonably evenly between winger and 10, and a lot of the time he plays as a winger and then just ends up as a 10 all the time anyways. But he is kind of trending negatively for 3 seasons in a row. I'm not super concerned about that. I think there's a lot of team effects in there, and like PSV were very good in a very weak league, like a very easy league for attackers. But it is more additional context. The place where Mr. Xavi Simons pops is as a passer. That's the thing he does that is like, this is the skill you will hang your hat on. If you look at his 23-24 season, the graphic on the right is from StatsBomb. I pulled this from the Transfer Flow newsletter. They did a thing about Xavi Simons this morning, showing his pass maps and his shots creation. Like, you look at the shots he's created here in this plot, it's a lot of good stuff. Like 8xG created is very nice. You're really happy with that. A lot of through balls. It's not a lot of crosses. And that's just open play. He also has like a pretty solid set piece delivery package. But like, you're pretty happy with that. Like, that's some real nice stuff for you to create in there. And particularly you see how much of that is like created from that left half spacey space. In terms of percentile ranks, like he shows up pretty good. Like, the guy passes the ball into the box, which is a valuable skill. And Chelsea don't really have a player now that Jadon Sancho's moved on that is a predominantly passer from the left. Gittins is a dribble shoot guy. João Felix, if he stays, which he won't, is a shoot guy. Nkunku is a shoot guy. Cucurella inverted is not a passer. None of the players on the left side of the field are pass guys. So having someone who skews pass, I think, is a useful skill for Chelsea. If you look at his pass maps, so these are from McClockbot, the light blue ones are completed progressive passes. The dark blue ones are incomplete progressive passes. And like, the big thing to me that really stands out is not only is he a player who like predominantly moves the ball forward out of the left half space, he's also much better at doing it out of the left half space than he is out of the right. Like, if you look at the incomplete ones, that's a lot of incomplete like crosses from the right side. His expected threat and his forward passing numbers are really, really strong, much stronger in 23-24 than they were in 24-25, but like very good. And one of the things you will see is that his risk profile on passes is like very different to every player in Chelsea's team other than Cole Palmer. So if you watch, like, he has a few different things. One, you'll see super one-footed. Like, he is one of the most one-footed players I have ever watched. He's very good with his right foot. He does a lot of creative things to use it because he's so one-footed, but he is very one-footed. So he will play lots of outside of the foot passes into the channel like this. You see a lot of them, whether they're like little dinks in behind or they're through balls or they're crosses. Like, it is a pretty common thing. And he's like pretty good at them. It is a skill in his arsenal. Sometimes he overcooks them. But like I said, one thing you'll see is that the risk profile of, like, ostensibly Leipzig are attacking 4v5, maybe 6 here. And like, a lot of players would play the ball wide here and then would go get into the box to go attack it. And he's like, through ball. Every time, through ball. And I think if you look at Chelsea's squad composition, and I think one of the roles that we really liked, and I really liked, was like, oh yeah, go get Rayan Cherki to be a sub and to be the ultra high risk, like, gunner passer who is just going to take all the risk for you, and that's going to be your not trump card, but it's going to be your alternative solution. And I think if you look at the squad, like Palmer is the only guy who has a high degree of passing risk to his game. Even Enzo Fernandez, who like could have that, has pretty significantly toned down his passing risk for retention. But like Caicedo is retention, Lavia is retention, Andres Santos is retention. Even the wingers, Pedro Neto is not a high risk passer. Estevao is a high risk passer. That's a kind of different role. But now that Jadon Sancho is gone, who was maybe Chelsea's best depth passer than Palmer, having that role from the left is important. And so you see a lot of attempted through balls in depth. He is pretty good with his weight of pass when he slides people. So you think about like an overlap to sliding people. His weight and his timing on those passes is quite good. This one's a little bit overcooked, but he's generally quite good at timing it. And the weight is like, I think quite good. I think the place where he really shines is when he is not operating so wide, but when he is using that half space to come inside and then play centrally or to the other side of the pitch, or to use the dribble inside as gravity to then play passes in depth. So like you'll see a lot of clips where he won't even beat anyone inside. He will just like use the threat of going inside to create space. Like here he goes inside to immediately slip someone outside into a much more valuable situation than he is in. Another one he dribbles inside and then it's a little reverse slip that he overhits. Another one he shows up in that half space to slide someone. Another one where he drives inside and then it is a reverse little dink. Like this is a pass. I look at this pass, this little like clip dink, and think there is no one at Chelsea who plays this last year other than Palmer and Sancho. And I look at next year and there's no one who plays this pass other than Cole Palmer. And that is like a tremendously valuable pass against deeper blocks, against different attacking situations from the left. And I am never going to complain about more passing into the box. I think it's the most underrated skill in football. And again, another one, drive inside, slip. Some of these are a little bit early, some of them are a little bit hit, but he's like quite good at like drive inside, draw attention, slip, reverse, slide, whatever pass you want. But you get there. The passing stuff I think is real. Yes, declined last year, but I think it's a real skill. The thing I think is much less of a real skill is the dribbling. The dribbling dropped off like hugely going from 23-24 to 24-25. A lot of that is like Leipzig sucked. And so teams correctly keyed on him much more, where like you will see very often most of his dribbles in 24-25 are like open field, middle of the pitch stuff, not move the ball into the box stuff or move the ball into the final third stuff. There's a lot less of that because like he gets it and he gets doubled, or like there's nobody to pass to because Sesko is standing marked and doesn't do anything. He is very, 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 very turnover prone in like team ruining ways. You will see clips where like he is exceptionally creative and tries like ridiculous dribbles. Like he tries like trick stick FIFA 5-star skills stuff. Not 5-star skills, but he tries like he will try and touch it one way and then run around the opponent the other way. He will do like these crazy like ball roll stuff. And it's cool, and sometimes it comes off, and you will see he's like very good at getting himself out of trouble. But he also has like game-ruining turnovers where he will try something really dumb. Not dumb, because it's sick if it comes off, but really risky. And it's like, oh my god, there's a transition the other way because you did that thing. And so there is a certain amount of like risk to how he plays, where you think about his profile of like very technically proficient 10 whose predominant skill is passing. Like there are worlds where that player becomes a deeper midfielder. Like you can think about Bernardo Silva at Man City becomes like a deeper 8, right? I don't think that will ever happen with him. At least not for a while, because he's like not immature is too strong a word, but he's very, very risky with his dribbling. And you can see it. Um, Again, like low center of gravity because he's very small. He's quite stocky for his size, so he's pretty good at riding challenges. Um, and again, he's much better when he goes inside into small spaces. Like he is between lines, small spaces, really clean, like very shifty, good at creating separation, strong enough to eat a challenge because he's like again pretty stocky for his size. Uh, Gets out of space well. Where I think, and you can see like and this is what I'm talking about, where like he will try stuff where he'll try and push it around the guy. Here he wins a foul, but then you'll see like there are ones later where he just like kind of goes nowhere with it and gets caught. Like here he tries a flick in behind, right? And like if it comes off, amazing, you're into this like great 2v2. But you're not, and like now there's potentially a really dangerous transition. Here's another one, like super tight space, amazing feet to get out of space. The thing you will see pop up though, much like Sancho, and I think Sancho is a reasonable comp, honestly. Sancho was obviously more wingery and like different, similar thing though, where like he got to play with Holland and his numbers in the Bundesliga were amazing. If he had to play with Sesko, they were worse. When he went to Dortmund the second time, they were much worse. The thing you'll see is like a lot of people are really hyped about the athleticism. They're like, he's so fast. Like you don't know how fast he is. I don't agree with that. Like I actually think he really struggles to create separation in dribbling situations. Like I think between lines, receive, get out of a tight space, really good. But I think like go past someone, create separation. If you think about this and go back to like the Gittins video, like Gittins gets a step and blows by guys. Like it's not close. But you will watch, he does not get away from guys. Like in the open field, yeah, again, middle of the park, yes, he has separation. He's real quick feet, get through space, do your thing. But then you get to wide areas and it's like there's really he's not like look like oh you're like oh yeah he got away, he didn't, and that fullback's glacial. Like oh I'm gonna rinse this fullback, great, I have all the space except you don't, and you just get caught and it's a corner. So I don't think, and you think about the Bundesliga where like everyone looks like a good dribbler in the Bundesliga. It's a very open league. I don't think that part of his game will translate to the Premier League. I think the passing risk does 100%. And I think there's real skill there. But I think if you look at the dribbling, I think that he will look a lot more like Sancho, where he will not be able to like burst past fullbacks if he is playing predominantly as a winger. I think in central areas he is able to create separation enough that he'll be valuable there, and he's able to get out of tight spaces there. And I think that's true, but I think in wide areas against fullbacks, he just does not have the pace to go past guys as a dribbler. Off the ball, his movement's okay, but like I don't see that in his game as a dribbler really. And one of the things that like I guess we'll talk about the shooting and then I'll bring up the comp. The shooting is also probably real. Across 3 seasons, he is like +8 or 9 on his XG on like 30 goals worth of XG. The way to think about this is like on one hand, you would hear me say very frequently, and you'd hear lots of people say very frequently, like, well, hold on, Kieran, that's not a huge sample size. Like it's only 3 seasons, it's only so many minutes. Like even if you look in terms of shots, like it's only 230 shots or whatever. However, 230 shots is not nothing. Like that's actually a very reasonable sample size to start evaluating finishing on. And a huge portion of his shots are with his right foot. Like in his career, he is a 90% of his shot volume is with his right foot guy. Like only shots with your right foot. So already you've like narrowed the subset of skills that you're evaluating. And he is so hot on his finishing in that moderate sample size, because again, 220 shots is not nothing. He is so far ahead in that the kind of bounds, like your 5% confidence to 95% confidence interval. So like if you look at, again, graphics from Dimitri's McClockbot, so like based on just his Bundesliga season, the 5% and 95% interval is negative 0.03 NPXG per shot to 0.2. In the Eredivisie, it's negative 0.04 to 0.12. So like if you take those, you would say like, oh, the average outcome here is he is probably something like a plus 5% finisher. Somewhere between plus 5, which would be like, if you're a 5% plus finisher, you're amazing. If you're a 10% plus finisher, you are like Messi, I think, is a lifetime plus 20%, but you're like Heung-min Son level finisher. And I think that's real. And you will see in the data or in the video, the dude can spank a ball. Like he can really, really shoot. What will take him from being, and again, you look at the seasons, PSV 14 XG, Leipzig 7 XG, Leipzig 5 XG. What will take him from like 5 XG guy to like a 9 XG guy, which is a really big deal for a winger. Like you think about Nani Madueke, who tripled his XG. What will help for him is fixing the shooting decisions. And I do this in basically every attacker video where I'm like, oh my God, this player is great. They can strike the ball, but like, holy, stop shooting from those spots. And you watch the video, this guy gets so many shots blocked. Block. Oh, I wonder what's going to happen this time. Oh, he didn't get blocked because it went 18 yards wide. Here's another one from distance. Oh, because you shot from 35 yards. Like, and again, Leipzig were not good. You have to factor that into why is this guy shooting from like situations you might not want to shoot from all the time. Like, probably because they're bad. Like, you've created no separation here. Where are you shooting? Again, you look at this one. Like, this one's okay. Like, it's a good block, whatever. Even this one, again, we talk about the one-footed thing. In a normal situation here, he takes this touch across his body on his left foot. He shoots with his left foot. He's not comfortable. So he shifts back to his right, drags it wide because there's no space. Here's another one. Like, even if you hit this perfectly, there's like 5 players in the path of the shot. Like, you have to hit this perfectly to score. You're off balance. It's from distance. Like, this is not a good moment to hit that shot from distance. And there's a whole bunch of these. Here's another one. Bad touch out of his feet. Like, heavy contest. Falling down, sliding. Yeah, shoot it. Block. Here's another one. Shot from distance with traffic. Block. Another one. Shot from distance falling over. Block. Another one. Falling over. Wide. Like, one of the really big things when we're talking about long shots, and one of the things that I'm going to say particularly about him, like, this guy can really shoot. Like, he should not shoot long shots. I had a good conversation on Twitter with Harry Brooks, who is like a coaching guy who works with people, and one of the players he works with is Nani Madueke. And somebody was talking to him about long shots, and he's like, there's no such thing as a bad shot. And like one of the things I worked with Nani on was like adding variety to his game, but not taking away the long shots. And the point that I tried to make to him was like, well, no, there definitely are bad shots. And the thing that Nani did well was like, hey, you can still cut in and hit the one from distance, but let's cut out the ones where you're falling over and the ones where you're heavy contest and the ones where you're off balance and the ones where like you didn't get a good prep touch, so like you're not ready to hit it. Let's get rid of all of those and let's trade them for movement into the box or an arrival at the back post or whatever other action that is more valuable than that shot. And like Nani had the best season of his career last year. Like, he just moved to Arsenal for £50 million. Like, good for you. And I think with Xavi Simons, yeah, you're a really good ball striker. But we just watched 25 seconds of you taking really shots you should not take. Like, your chance of scoring is very low. And now we're going to watch 30 seconds of, like, actually much better. Okay, there's one more block. But now we're going to watch a bunch where, like, you create the space, you are well balanced, and you can strike the ball well. Like, here he works the space. Great finish. Here's another one. Great finish because he's in space, he's balanced, he has separation, he has the lane to shoot. We're like, yeah, these are long shots you're okay with hitting. It's the same reason I'm not like, I don't really get so mad when Palmer hits long shots. It's like, yeah, he's working actually the space to hit it most of the time. I think one of the things that he does really well is his ability to find space in the penalty area as a 10 is very, very good. Whether it's like knockdowns or loose ones or like arriving in the 6-yard box or whatever, the ball just like drops to him in the box very similarly to Enzo Fernandez, who like, I'm going to get myself here, and because of that, I will get chances just by my presence of being here. Like this chance here is actually a really nice example of that, where like he's in the box early, one hard step forward. Oh, I got to get picked up. I'm not going to get this here. Let me find the cutback. Good finish. Good cutback by Sesko. The ball striking is like very good. He has a variety of techniques: inside foot, outside foot, driven, curled. Like, he can do many things. One of the things that really stood out to me on the video is his footwork to set himself to finish, particularly in one touch, is so good. Where you can watch, if you watch Simons here when the ball is wide, watch his footwork as he thinks this might get cut back to him. You can see he takes like, it's real hard to see, but if I slow it down, you can see he goes from normal strides to one little like hoppy step of, oh, if you cut this back, I'm going to be able to hit this first time. And it's very, very small. And you can even see his hips turn. Watch his hips turn. He's like, yeah, I'm going to hit this. If you cut this back, I'm hitting it first time. It doesn't come. Continues on the movement. Boom, second one. Never know. Here's another one. Watch the exact same thing. This is against Liverpool in the Champions League. Watch the prep on the footwork. Let's go once in real time. Skies it. No problem. The arrival's good. It doesn't work out. But the footwork to set yourself is really, really good. And you can see so much of the time, like, that part of his game, the arriving stuff, is very strong. And the thing that kept popping in my mind every time I'm watching, and I'm looking at like some of these real bad decisions to shoot, like, I'm going to get my shots and we're going to deal with it. And I'm looking at like some of the really creative passing from the left half space, and I'm looking at his ability to go past guys in the open field but lacks the pace to go past guys in set situations. And I look at all of this and I'm like, there is so much João Felix about his game, and it gives me a real ick. And you'll see when we do the defending, it's going to click even more for you now. The defending stuff, going to be honest, not good. The defending is not good. I see people saying he defends well. They're lying to you. The same way they lied to you about Timo Werner. One of the things you have to be really cognizant about, particularly with Red Bull teams, is there is the perception that Red Bull teams all press, which they do. They do all press. And there's the perception that all the players who play for them press. And again, they all do. But the Red Bull teams are very, very good at hiding and accommodating players who are less good pressers and making the press still work. Like, one of the things we saw when Chelsea signed Timo Werner and Hakim Ziyech was like, hey, we want to press more, so we're going to buy these attackers who play for pressing teams. And they bought Christian Pulisic, they bought Hakim Ziyech, and they bought Timo Werner in like consecutive windows. Pulisic is a legit good presser. He played for Dortmund, actually a good presser, very active, very physically talented. His angles are good, like, good presser. Ziyech played for Ajax, unbelievable pressing team. Really good Champions League run, unbelievable pressing team. Ziyech was the player who, like, they let do whatever he wanted defensively. He was the player they carried. He tries, but his angles are bad. He gets caught chasing. He's like not very good at reading passing lanes. Like he was not a good presser. Werner is fast and was good at chasing passbacks, and because he's fast, could apply pressure quickly. But again, took bad angles. Like was not a good presser at Chelsea. It was not that good a presser at Leipzig before that. Simons has like pretty consistently been low volume. Like his tackle and interception numbers are pretty close to someone like Palmer, who is like Palmer has grown as a defender, but like has given up some defensive responsibility because he leads so much of the attack. Which like considering Leipzig comparatively are not nearly as good as Chelsea are, like that's a problem that you have very low defensive activity. I look at that, and again I look at the trend defensively where all of the seasons are bad defensively. They're all below average for his position and age group. And I say you got to think about how you're using him and Palmer together. If they are ever playing together, like you have to come up with actual solutions defensively. Like you cannot just roll them both out there and say like, okay, it works. Like maybe you can if they're the wingers and you're playing Jackson, who's going to run until he dies as the 9, or João Pedro is the 9 who's going to run until he dies, and you're going to play all 3 midfielders behind them. Like maybe you can get away with that, but I think that is a very difficult ask. And when you watch the video, you will see what I mean about the João Felix of it all, where yes, he will track the overlapping fullback here, and then he will dive in and get burned and be very lucky that his left back is still there. He will then fly into a challenge for no reason on the sideline, 85 yards from goal, for no reason at all. And he's just like, yes, I am going to crunch you now. I did talk about when, as a dribbler, how he is quite stocky, like he's quite strong for his profile. And that is true. He absorbs contact pretty well. But one of the things is like, he is 5'6". It is hard to like body guys defensively when you are 5'6". Like you are just at a length and a size disadvantage all the time. I think this is Michael Olise, who's like, Michael Olise is strong, but he's also like 6'2". Like you are just getting weight roomed, or I think it's Sane actually, who's like not that big at all. Then, like that's a very difficult gap to overcome. One of the things you'll see pretty frequently is like his first effort is good. Like if the ball is near him and he has the chance to win it, he will try to win it. Or like the first action defensively of I have to go close down and force the guy to this direction is like pretty good. But as soon as it's like a second reaction or a third reaction, or it's a little bit less structured, like he very much falls asleep and is very like, I'm just going to slide and try and win the ball. And if I don't, whatever. And so you see lots of moments where he just like throws himself to the ground, or like loses the ball and is like, this is a situation you think about how a fullback or like a reasonable defender here, like they're not coming to win this ball. Like they're just going to delay and wait for help. And he's like, I'm winning it now, and gets burned and gives away a free kick in a dangerous position. Here's another one in a wide area where like I have no idea what he's going for. And then, I'm going to try and dive in and win it. I didn't get it. All right, do whatever you want. I'm going to dive in. Another one. This one's in midfield. I'm going to dive in and try and win this instead of just forcing you wide. Where like we have numbers. If you force him wide, it's a 1v3. You're winning the ball. But it's like, no, I want to win the ball. I'm going to jump in. And he gets skinned. And now it's a really dangerous transition the other way. The last clip is like, here he is as a winger. This is like the winger has received. The fullback is going around. You're going to track. Your goal is you cannot get dribbled inside. You are going to keep this into a 2v2, and you and your fullback are going to win the 2v2. That's like how you would defend the situation as a winger. And you watch what happens. The winger gets it. Oh, he's cutting inside. Oh, I ran way too far. And I'm like not even close to being able to apply pressure. So actually now this guy has a totally free cross in the box, and they just got an amazing chance out of it because I have no idea what I'm doing defensively. Like these are actual problems, and they're problems in that if Chelsea are buying him with the view like we're gonna play this guy all the time, and Palmer's gonna be a right winger, and Simons is gonna be a 10, and somebody's gonna play left winger, it's gonna be very hard to construct like a legitimately strong press that gives you anything. Like that's a real difficult problem. If his role is going to be, I'm gonna beat up on the bad teams, and I'm gonna be a rotation option, and I'm going to come off the bench in situations you need me to come off the bench and be an attacking spark, he's going to be really good at that because the defending is much less important in those situations. But he needs a lot of work defensively, a lot of work defensively. And so I look at everything, and I look at the big picture, and I say, again, I did this exact same slide for the João Pedro thing. You look at the players on Chelsea's books who are like vaguely left winger 10s. João Pedro, who apparently is just going to play a 9. It's a whole lot of money. João Felix, whole lot of money. Christopher Nkunku, whole lot of money. Raheem Sterling, whole lot of money. Xavi Simons, whole lot of money. Do I think he's a good player? Yes. Like, pretty undoubtedly, the kid can ball. Very good passer. I don't think the dribbling will translate that well, but I think he's probably a plus finisher. And the passing is super legit. And, like, that's a good profile to have for Chelsea in the left half space at 22 years old. Like, you'll take that gamble. I think the fee is actually surprisingly reasonable. I think for his level of production over the last 2 seasons, like, if it's something like 60 million euros for his age, it's pretty fair. I think it's not crazy valued. If it's like 80 million, I think that's a really terribly priced deal. But all the stuff is that it's going to be a very small profit for Leipzig, which I don't really understand on their side. But let's put that aside. The thing to me that is a little bit alarming is that the wages are probably going to be pretty high. Like, he was on PSG wages when he went to Leipzig. The number is something like 110,000 euros a week. You can assume that he's probably going to get like north of Pedro Neto money, so like 150, 160 pounds is probably the number that I would guess that at based on that initial wage package, and that's tough. Like, that's for not a starter. That's a lot of money. But I think he's a good player. Like, I think there's stuff there. Again, I just look at it and I'm like, if you move the middle 3 guys on the slide, if you move João Felix, Christopher Nkunku, Raheem Sterling for something like book value, sure, it's a profile you need in the squad, no problem. I get it. I have no problem. I just think that's a fairly unlikely conclusion. But evaluating him on the merits of him as a player, I think the shooting is very real. I think the passing is very real. I think the dribbling will not translate as much as people do. And I do think the athleticism that people are talking about is not that real. I don't think that will translate to the Premier League incredibly well. Again, you think about someone like Bernardo Silva or Jadon Sancho or these like smaller guys who are fast-ish, but they're not like real bursty guys. They come to the Premier League and they're not quick. Like, Bernardo Silva does not go past people with pace. They're very technically gifted in small spaces and use that tremendously well, but they're not going past people. And I don't really think that's going to be. I don't think that's going to be him at Chelsea either. And the defending needs a lot of work, and depending on what role he needs, like, that may or may not matter. But that's kind of where I'm at. Anyways, that's all my thoughts on him. A little bit longer than usual, but there's a lot to talk about there. Joel Hader video will come out soon, but. That's my thoughts on Xavi Simons. Let me know what you think. I will not call him Simons. Let me know what you think of him in the comments. Do you like the deal? If it happens, will it happen? All the regular questions we care about. But that's all for me. As always, enjoy the soccer.